All right, guys, just a couple thoughts on the Toor Merchant here. I did do a video on this, I don't know, a few weeks ago, just talking about my impressions of it, and I think I titled the video Chris Reeve Killer. So I kind of wanted to follow up on that title a little bit since I've owned and used this now for a few weeks since I did that video. So just a reminder, this is the Toor Merchant version 2.0 that I bought from Blademan's Knife Shop. So if you guys haven't checked their website out, please take a look at them. Their storefront's in Fort Wayne, Indiana. If you guys are over there, great store. Mark's a really nice guy. He's the owner. So if you have any questions about any knives or anything, he's happy to answer them. But yeah, so I picked this up from Blademan's, and probably the biggest change, at least to me, from the first version to the second version was the pocket clip. You can see here it is a deep carry pocket clip. The first one, it was mounted awkwardly, like somewhere in this area, so it left like this much of the knife sticking out of your pocket. Just not a great, I don't know, not a preferred style of pocket clip for me, and probably for most people in the knife community. Although if you're wearing jeans, I guess it doesn't matter that much. I like the deep carry clips for shorts especially, but I prefer them for jeans. But I guess if it probably doesn't matter to everybody. So, but yeah, so I've used this and carried this a decent amount since I've owned it. I just have a lot of knives and I try to rotate them and enjoy all of them. But this one has found the pocket probably more than any of my other knives in the past, well, since I bought it in the past couple months. I really like how light it is, and I like the pocket clip. The edge is nice and sharp, nice and even and sharp. And I've used it to open boxes, open packages, stuff like that. And it's worked well every time, so I really appreciate that. Build quality is really, really high. It's completely made in the United States, from my understanding, and it has a coated blade that's nice and even. There's a little Toor mark on the blade there. Lockup is nice and solid. It does have a little bit of side-to-side play if you grasp it from like the middle of the blade to the outer portion. I don't really care about that. I've never really cared that much about blade play unless it's significant. I mean, I prefer it's not there, but if it's not there, but otherwise I don't really care that much. So I did want to try and disassemble this after I'd carried it and used it some, just to clean it out. I like to kind of make that a habit anyway when I buy knives, to just disassemble them and clean them out and oil them after I buy them, because sometimes, like especially with knives like this that have coated blades, some of that coating rubs off in the pivot, and I like to clean that out. And so I want to do that with this knife. And I found out when I tried to disassemble it that, number one, this pivot is free spinning. So you can see here, torque screw T8 on this side, T8 on this side, and it just free spun, just spun. So it was hard from that point of view just to get, I don't know, even have a chance to loosen the pivot. These screws back here were fine. But the pivot was kind of a pain. So I had to get two T8 drivers to even have a chance to loosen it. Well, then I found out they put some kind of Loctite on the pivot. It was not blue Loctite. It was something stronger, which, come to find out, I think it was purple. But yeah, it was a bear to try to get that pivot loosened. Finally did. I was able to disassemble the knife, which it was really easy once I got the pivot loosened. But it's just like, I don't know, that's the second big reflection point after the clip, which is great, is the pivot was free spinning with purple Loctite, which was not ideal at all. So I don't love that. I don't know why every maker doesn't make their pivots D-shaped or do what Civivi does and they put like a little raised bump under one of the pivot, under the pivot collar maybe. And I shouldn't call it collar, under the receiving end of the screw. Anyway, so it doesn't rotate when you tighten the pivot down. Don't know why more makers don't do that. I think every single maker should do that. It wouldn't be that expensive to do that. Especially for, I mean, something like this. This knife was $300, so should definitely be done here. And then the last thing I want to talk about with this, and I don't know if this is really a reflection point. I guess it would be because it's kind of related to customer service. So I recently joined the Toor Knives group and I posted about the centering of this knife being off. You can see here it's still slightly favors the right side, but not too bad. It did favor the right side more when I originally bought it. And I posted in the group about that, and it was pretty cool because the founder of the company actually came in and commented and gave me a couple of tips on how I could center it up, which I thought was great. I mean, I know sometimes founders or makers or just some of those guys are present in some of the groups, but I guess I'd never personally had such a direct interaction with one. So yeah, he came in and commented, first said to try to tighten the pivot, which didn't work. And then he said to disassemble it and bend the non-locking scale away from the side that the blade was favoring. And I was like, I thought that was kind of odd. I was like, bend a titanium scale. But I decided to give it a try. I mean, titanium is a pretty resilient metal, and it's also fairly malleable. Like, you can bend it more so than like a steel or something. So yeah, I gave it a shot and it did work pretty well, surprisingly. I mean, you can see here, you know, as I said, it's not perfectly centered, but it's good enough for me. I didn't want to try to bend this scale any more than I did. So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. Good customer service. And the founder, his name's Connor, he also said, he's like, you know, if you try this and it doesn't work, or, you know, if you don't want to do this, just send it back to me. You know, we'll take care of it and send it back to you, which I thought was really cool. I mean, blade centering, it depends on the manufacturer, but they don't always, I don't know, they don't always really offer a warranty per se on that. So just for him to come in and volunteer to personally tune the knife back to centering, I thought was really great. So yeah, just a few points. The new clip is awesome. Carry weight's great. I don't know how that compared to the first version, but that's just a really strong point for me. The blade shape is nice, very utilitarian. The pivot system, or the pivot situation, was not great. So hopefully they'll change that for the third version. And then customer service seems to be very strong on these. So I don't know if you guys have Toor knives of your own. Let me know your thoughts or any other comments or questions below. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of other content. I will link the original Toor video in the description so you can check that one out. And have a great rest of the week. We'll talk to you guys later.